for instance, universities are state-owned, and that's why Japanese parents usually prefer to send their kids as students to the United States. So they would receive an education which is more independent of what the government wants. So that's the main problem. And this problem in Europe is the most serious, a little bit less serious in Japan and far less serious in the US. Okay, and another thing is the Japanese cautious approach towards immigration. The Japanese don't even trust completely their Korean and Chinese minority. They are combined. They combined make like 1 million people, which in within the Japanese society that its population it's like 120 odd million. This is not much, so Japanese society is very homogeneous, and because of that, the Japanese are accustomed to treating the Japanese nationality, as something very precious that is hard to obtain, and in this respect, Japanese society and governmental policy resembles a little bit the Swiss ones. So the Swiss resemble Switzerland and its approach to those questions. So Japanese society and government are also not very enthusiastic towards exotic mass immigration. Exotic, I mean the people who would not rather not assimilate well. First and foremost, the Muslims, of course, because the Islamic religion is so dominant a part in a Muslim everyday life that it's very hard for them to adapt to the different situation. It's far less problematic with the polytheistic views and religions like the Hindu religions. Hindus are assimilating well, both in Japan, although they are accepted in very little numbers there, and in the Western European societies or Western societies in general. So when it comes, because Japanese population is shrinking, thanks to Furita and their thinking about hobby as something far more important than starting family, and nothing wrong about it. I am totally liberal about it. So because the population is shrinking, the Japanese society has a problem, of course, with the workforce. But they are not solving this problem with allowing mass immigration, exotic immigration. They are solving this problem by applying more robotics and more artificial intelligence in the workplaces. For instance, if you have a Japanese sushi bar, for instance, when in the equivalent of this in Europe, there would be like 5 or 6 or 7 people employed. In the Japanese bar are 2 or 3 people employed, and the rest of the work is done by Europe. So it's really a self-service by clients. So this is how the Japanese deal with this sort of problem. And I think this approach towards immigration, this support towards this approach towards immigration, this support towards different things, towards politicians and ex-political leaders, makes a Japanese society far more healthy in general than Western European societies, most of them at least.